Dr. Jim Fazone. I'm here with Gary Mattia, and you are in the principal's office.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Fazone, principal of the SIPEC Center. I'm here with Gary Mattia, and we have a special guest, Mr. Palm. As usual, we have our director and producer, Nick Sikowski, and welcome. You are in the principal's office. We have a few questions, I think, that have been sent in to us. Mr. Sikowski, can you tell us what those are?
Yes, we have two questions regarding the textbooks, which will be answered probably together. And it was just, will there be a makeup day for picking up books? And my student has textbooks here at home from last year. How and when would you be able to, how and when will I be able to return them?
Okay, I think Mr. Mattia, you're going to answer that, right?
Yes. If you have or still need books, you can contact us on our email, and you can contact your teacher, and we'll make an arrangement for you to drop that book off. Someone is always at the school on Mondays. That's when I'm there. So certainly if you came up to school on Monday, we had the books that still need to be picked up in the lobby. You come to the door, make sure you wear your mask. We'll get that book for you. You don't enter the school, but that book would then be picked up. If you're one of the people who have books from last year, it works the same way for you. If you stop by the school on a Monday between 9 and 12, we could take that book from you, come to the front of the main buildings, either at Asapink or at SIPEC, and we'll make sure we take that book from you as well.
Very good. So our topic for today is pleasure reading. And pleasure reading is something that you can do at any time. I know you can take a look around and listen around. You probably hear your parents talking about books that they think are interesting, maybe magazines that they think are interesting. Some of your friends have probably talked about some books, and you've read some books, and you have some recommendations. So by the end of the show, we're going to be asking you to send us in some recommendations for books. We're going to be talking about some of the books that we like. And our special guest today is Mr. Eric Palm, and he's our English teacher. Welcome, Mr. Palm.
Hi, thanks for having me. So
we're excited. The one thing I did notice last week on the book drop-off and pickup is that you have as one of your books that you recommend or actually assign to your students, The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. Tell us a little bit about that book and why you picked that book.
So this book, it looks really cool too on the cover page. So this book is by Kurt Vonnegut. It is hilarious, laugh out loud funny about a space traveler. He goes from being the richest man in the world on Earth to then being the richest man financially in space. However, he loses a lot of his morals and principles along the way. So it's a hilarious experience to watch this man who thinks he's top dog of Earth, walking around enjoying everything there is, and then becoming the man in space who knows nothing. So I love to read it. Kurt Vonnegut, the author, writes tons of books, and reading his series, it's like experiencing a great Netflix binge-worthy show. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I liked a lot of his books as well. I remember his short stories, the Welcome to the Monkey House. He also had Breakfast of Champions. Also, another one I liked was Cat's Cradle and Slapstick, but a whole lot of books by Kurt Vonnegut that are interesting. Mr. Mattia, you're a big reader. Tell us some of the books that you are interested in, who the authors are that you like.
Well, I like books about, crime and detectives and investigators. So a couple of the authors I like are James Patterson, and he writes he uses different characters in different books. I like him. And I also like Michael Connelly, the Bosch series. It's about a detective and out in LA, and I find them to be pretty exciting. I think the Bosch series is also that book is turned into a series. It's also on Amazon, so you can watch it on there as well. It's adult reading, but it's good. It's suspenseful, keeps me tuned up. Dr. Fazone and I were talking about when we were growing up, and one of my favorite books, even growing up, I guess, was kind of a crime solver. I used to love reading the Hardy Boys, and I think the Hardy Boys are still even out today. And Dr. Fazone, I figured if it was the actual original author, he'd be about 140 now. So they must have someone else writing those books. But that was one of my favorite books growing up as a kid, is the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, a little trivia for our folks who are listening. The Franklin W. Dixon, who wrote the Hardy Boys, and all of the other authors who wrote Nancy Drew, who wrote the Bobbsey Twins, who wrote Tom Swift. Frank that really, I'm not going to know his name, but Franklin W. Dixon, whoever the real author was, he started off writing those books and couldn't keep up with all the books because of the demand. So he hired aspiring writers back in the 20s to write those books. And then those aspiring writers just moved on. And then his daughter actually bought the company, and she carried out with the same process with the Hardy Boys files. But just a little bit of interesting trivia.
Dr. Frazone, who are some of the authors in the books that you like to read?
Well, I actually have a little show and tell here, and I had a James Patterson book, but I can't find it. I think it's in the trunk. I was reading it at the beach, so I got a little bit disorganized. However, one of my favorite authors is Piers Anthony. He's 84 years old now, and he wrote the Xanth novels. He has a brand new Xanth book, and you can see it's Xanth. The first in the series is A Spell for Chameleon, and this is actually just right. It's his latest Xanth novel. It's 2020. It just came out. Some of the other series that I like of his, and he's science fiction fantasy. One that I really liked was Incarnations of Immortality, and then he also had Bio of a Space Tyrant. But a friend of mine who's an author told me, because you can't even get Bio of a Space Tyrant, when they have put books in paperback and then they end the series, they call them pulped, and then they don't want anybody selling them for like 10 cents, like we used to buy comics in the old days, so they get rid of them. So it's tough to get Bio of a Space Tyrant. Some of the other things that I like the comic books, and Stephen Krashen wrote in The Power of Reading that a lot of us forget that we learn to read by comic books. So I have right here Fantastic Four. I am a big fan of Marvel. I have Ghost Rider right here, and one that's kind of out this week that seems to be getting a lot of attention is the Joker series. Everybody's waiting for that to come out, and they have some collector things. But what I want to do is try to make sure that we get some of our parents and some of our students to call in or actually write in to tell us what some of their favorite books are. But I gave you some of mine. Kurt Vonnegut, always a favorite of mine too. I do like that science fiction, but again, I do like those James Patterson. Along Came a Spider was one of my favorites of his, and then Kiss the Girls. He had a lot of interesting books there.
Mr. Palm, what are some of the books and authors that you like?
So I like Dr. Fazone. I really like science fiction. I love action. I also love comedy. Some of the series that I like are the Ender's Game series. There's also the Ender's Shadow series by Orson Scott Card. Yes. They made a movie not too long about Ender's Game. It's really good. Like I said before, I love Kurt Vonnegut. I think I've read almost all of his books. And I also really enjoy this a contemporary author, a guy who's still producing a lot of text named Cormac McCarthy. His most famous text is probably called The Road. That is also a movie available on Netflix. Very good. It's about a post-apocalyptic world and a father and his son traversing through that. So I love action, comedy, sci-fi.
Sounds good.
That's very awesome. So I wanted to add some of the motivational factors of reading so our parents are aware of that. One thing, parents, you should know that children love to read as long as they can read what they like. And they will go to reading, but you sort of have to take them to the reading. Children typically are interested in talking on Facebook, talking with their friends. Maybe they don't use Facebook, whatever they're using now. But social media and Netflix and those kind of things. And they go to those, they generate to those. However, they will go to reading, but we kind of have to take them there. So whether you can pack kids up, put them in a car, take them to the library, go to a bookstore, encourage them to order online books. So they will enjoy reading as much as all those other items, but we sort of have to take them to them. Some other motivational factors are hearing parents and adults talk about books, friends talking about books, being read to aloud, book ownership, being able to choose the books that they own. So I just want to give everyone a little bit of information on that. And now, Mr. Sikowski, anything else that we need to cover this week for the show? We don't have any questions coming in live, I guess. So Mr. Palm, tell us a little bit more about reading and literature. You're the expert.
Yeah, so to be honest, when I was a middle school kid, elementary school kid, I did not like reading. I know I'm an English teacher, so that might be weird. But what really got me into it was choosing books that I do enjoy. I didn't really like the books provided to us by middle school, but then all of a sudden, junior in high school, it was actually the book 1984 by George Orwell. I read that.
Yeah.
It blew my mind that an author could craft such an interesting story using the language that he did. So from that moment, I just became addicted. And now, for any guys in particular or girls who don't like reading, consider it exercise, right? You know, every day you should go to the gym or go for a run, play some sports. Reading, it's essentially exercise for the mind. So I always tell my students and friends, hey, go work out a little bit, exercise the brain. It's perhaps the most important part of the whole body.
Good point. So, Mr. Mattia, do we have anything else we want to talk about today?
I don't think so. Again, we're going to make the picking up those books available to you. You have to come in wearing a mask. It's curbside pickup. You don't enter the building. Let your teacher know. Through your teachers, we can arrange something, or give us an email and we can arrange something on that too. And hey, reading takes you to places you may never have been to, or you may never get to go to. So when you're experiencing the virtual school and you're, sitting behind a computer, take some time off for yourself. Read a story that you like that takes you someplace special. I think there's nothing better than that, and enjoy it while you have those moments.
Yeah, when you talk about George Orwell, I loved Animal Farm. I love Napoleon at the end when he said, all animals are created equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Kind of a really statement that said a lot about that book, and fairness and unfairness and treating people fairly. And some of the shows to come, we're going to kind of talk about that, how we need to treat each other respectfully and fairly. Animal Farm, good book to discuss or cover that topic. Anything else? We're ready to go. So once again, for Gary Mattia and Nick Sikowski, our program director, our special guest, Mr. Palm, we hope you enjoyed the show today. Get out there, grab a couple books. Reading can be a great family thing to do. We will see you next week in the principal's office. Bye-bye.